Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The podcast is available bi-weekly where your favorite podcasts are found, including iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also get it from our website at scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can find show notes, photo gallery, and so much more. You can also subscribe to get notifications on all our updates, new episodes, and video content. Please support the Scale Model Podcast on Patreon. Patreon supporters enjoy early access to content and exclusive contests. Your Patreon support helps us to offset hosting and other costs to bring the podcast to you. Welcome to episode 122 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Cult TV Man, Sean's Custom Model Tools, and Return to Kit Form. I'm your host, Stuart Clark, and I'm joined by, once again, the universe's finest modeling co-hosts.
Best color man in the business.
Best color man in the business. We're gonna start with our special guest tonight. Your friend and mine, author of controversial blog posts always and occasionally, freshly moved from a house move in the wilds of the Ottawa Valley, Mr. Chris Wallace. How are you, sir?
Well, after an introduction like that, I have to say I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you, Stu.
That's one thing I can do. I can spread the BS amongst friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got yourself moved. You moved house.
Yep, we got. I did something crazy. I started a group build, I guess, last winter, and then halfway through, I decided to really pump my odds up in finishing to move and buy a new house and move during that thing. And I'll tell you, Stu, dumbest thing to do in order to get things done, anything modeling. It was a massive time suck, but we're in here. Everyone's happy. Actually, all in all, it was well worth the pain. It was time to go, and we found a great place, and we're really happy here.
Perfect. Good stuff. All right. We'll talk about the group build a bit later, because I actually got mine done, which is pretty rare for a group build. Anyway, also here from the North Shore of Lake Erie, where he is between doing renovations for daughters and son-in-laws, being the cool grandfather. Let me think here. RC powerboats. Haven't heard if the pool lining's been pierced. Your friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Highland. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you, Chris, and Stuart and Terry. Always good. Oh, I can't talk about Terry because he hasn't been introduced yet. That would be wrong.
Sure you can.
And the pool liner has not been pierced, but that's not for lack of trying.
Okay, just making sure. And the grandchildren like them?
Oh, they loved attempting to pierce the pool liner. The boats are very, you can see it over his shoulder on one of them, the red one.
Oh, yeah, the little RC powerboat. Yeah. Chris, grandpa picked up a few.
Picked up two small RC powerboats that are great fun in the pool. You can do figure eights and do races and all that kind of stuff, but they have very pointy front ends, and apparently they came with an anti-pointy thing that you put on the front end that bounces it off. And I couldn't find it because, as it turned out, after I looked several times, it was the same color as the packaging material. I would have easily thrown it out, but I found it, and you can just see just over my shoulder, it's got that little white pointy thing.
Yeah. Very good.
That does seem to work.
All right. And then west of Chicagoland, father of a brand new, very cute puppy, which my wife still says has been any more pictures.
I put a couple on.
I know you did. I did that, and I showed them to her, and I went, look, it's Terry Muesley.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. How are you? How's the puppy?
Doing pretty good. Oh, he's a maniac.
Of course.
No, he's a really good little guy. He's doing very well. He's now 31 pounds at 4 months.
And
so he's moving along pretty well.
And he's still got a lot of growing into those ears.
He certainly does.
That's nothing wrong with that.
His siblings are all large, but his parents are small. So we'll see what happens.
There we go. And everyone's getting along, so it's all good. So you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and we have a 9-month-old one. Maybe he's a foster. Maybe we'll keep him the way they're wearing each other out. It's been great.
Oh,
so maybe I can actually get something done.
It seems like every time you come home, there's another dog in the house.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I thought I should point that out. That's okay. There's certain things we just can't fight. So we know, so being all married guys, we know better. Okay, let's get on to the latest news. Couple of sad bits of news. Resin casts and Fru models are going to be closing fairly soon for sickness and retirement, apparently. Apparently Resin Cast is, if I recall, they're retiring. I think both are available for sale. Resin Cast was 32 years in the hobby. He's decided for age-related reason, cease at the end of the year. Going to be stuff on sale and things like that. And then also Fru Model, makers of fine quality metal tracks for years and years, due to health problems. So, there we go. But they are going to be at some shows. So we'll see. But if you're interested, Jeff, you want something to do. Machinery, 600 molds, 200 prototypes.
Yeah, I noticed that. That.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the name. The name has got to be worth something too.
Well, too. Yeah, exactly. But you can do the quality in that. Again, you look at some of the tracks, the product they have over the years.
Fantastic. I got to get myself one of those Object 279 tanks. That's just really just so cool.
There you go. Exactly. Okay, and something I don't think, which is an Object 279 tank, is the Musaru Cup box has arrived. Most of the podcasters now have it in their hot little hands. We're not allowed to open it till the 1st. It's very light.
I just gotta say that was an incredible segue, Stuart. Really, I mean,
do you like that?
It's like something you probably had to work on for a few days. That's pretty impressive.
Once in a while, the brains, both neurons in the brain fire up at the same time. So, but we're all looking forward to the Musaru Cup, again, sponsored by Lightwave Global and IPMS Hamilton. And yes, it's my turn to build. So it'll be curious to see. I don't think it's a complex ship with photo etch. Jeff, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It could be a small figure. So that could still
that would, and if it's a miniature, I'll be pissed.
Yeah, there you go. So, but we'll see what happens. As normal, we'll find out on the 1st, and we have to get it done by the time of HeritageCon again. So, and as always, we will bring ours down to HeritageCon. Home field advantage and all that. So.
Chris had a question.
I did. So did you guys flip a coin before this happened, or do you follow regular rotation? I see some disappointment in Terry's face if it is something.
Yeah, we follow regular.
I like to do.
Yeah, we follow regular rotation. We have to tell the Musaru Cup committee who's going to be building it.
Right.
Out of each podcast. So I have a feeling that plays a part in the selection.
But having a figure last time I did it didn't help me, I guess.
We were robbed.
Yeah, we were robbed. It was
I'm just going to say that.
The figure was good.
Yeah, the figure was awesome.
Corruption, total corruption.
Yeah. But I believe there's 8 or 9 podcasts again involved. And so, it's good fun. Absolute good fun. Okay. The other thing is, under latest news, not Nats is coming up like this next weekend. By the time we record this, it'll be on and almost over. Chris, you're not going down this year, are you?
Unfortunately, I am not.
No.
I'm a little bit strapped right now, but I
you
will.
bought a house.
It has an effect. But I am going to go next year. I'm going to go to Wisconsin.
I'm really hoping to as well. We're going to see what happens. That'll be the best odds of me going, with it being so close. So at Wisconsin, there was a posting from Don Schmoltz, the admin of the IPMS USA group. They are testing the waters. They want to do a SIG area at NATS. So like display only, traditional SIG displays, club displays, group and challenge builds, demonstration of modeling techniques. They're going to be, display tables will be available to all registration convention attendees. 1 table per customer, first come, first served. If you have a really big group, they'll let us know and see what they can do. They're kind of really testing the waters here. So they want people to send them an email to clubs.nats2024@gmail.com and let them know what you and your group are and going to display. They're going to call it the Tiger Meet. I think that's kind of awesome. So basically, yeah, I think, and we were saying before we went to air, maybe this is, we're finally seeing some ideas after, the board agreed they've got to really make things, the group IPMS USA for all modelers. Comments, gentlemen?
I note that the tables will be able to be staffed. And they asked that only Wednesday and Thursday do they require staffing all day.
Yeah.
The other days it can be on its own. But that's actually pretty interesting for recruitment, for clubs, that kind of stuff, and even recruitment for special groups. The special interest groups have always been around, but I think they've kind of fallen off the radar a little bit. And this is good. I'm actually really happy to see this.
Yeah,
not just because it's demonstration or a display area, but it's focused.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about this a little bit later with Chris, because Chris wrote a kind of semi-related blog post about this.
Well, it's interesting looking at the comments on the posting on the Facebook post. They're all uniformly positive, if not effusive, about what this is an outstanding idea. Let's just do it. Let's hope, and people who have been to Telford in the UK could basically go nuts and say, you know what, that was in many ways the SIG tables were the most interesting part of the show, because it's just like goes on forever, and you can talk to somebody about a specific area of interest, someone who's absolutely passionate about it, and learn a lot in a very short period of time. So, I mean, I think it's a great idea, and I really, really hope the groups in the U.S. pick up on it and take advantage of this opportunity.
When I went to the show in 2018 in Arizona, I do remember there were a few display, but it was certainly not something that was, like, I'd say, pumped up or promoted. It was definitely there. There was a local club. I remember there was one guy who had basically, I think it was every type of Matilda tank or Churchill tank that's ever been. But the most interesting one was a guy who showed up from California with every model that he's ever built since he was 5 years old. It was something like 700 models that he just had over the 3 or 4 tables. I still remember it, and you could sort of see the progression over time. But I think it's a fantastic idea, especially like it's been said, recruitment, just getting information. It'd be very interesting to meet people that are, say, crazy about the F4 Phantom, and you have a question about that. It'd be great to make those contacts and get information that way.
Yeah, and the other thing is that it's not a competition. So if models did well at NATS or other regional shows or something in the past, they can come back, and people can actually get to see them again if they missed them the first time around. Or what do you do after that? You compete at NATS. If you get a medal, especially, it goes in your cabinet and it makes its way to local shows. But it's no longer a competition piece. So this is going to be really nice.
This is all segueing so well into the discussion with Chris.
Well, I know it's almost like he kind of knew this was coming.
Almost.
What else is interesting? I see one of the comments here, Jeff, is from Phoenix Scale Publications, and they said, "Great idea." In the editorial of the latest UK issue, I compared US and UK nationals. So many differences that may surprise you. I did a seminar last year, which was about how much they differ, but how the models attending did not, apart from accent. So I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see if I can get a copy of that, because that would be interesting to see. It's a nice little segue. We're going to be talking about that shortly. All right. One correction in the mailbag. Ken Freund, Ken, I'm sorry. I'm as bad as Mr. Goldfinch on pronunciation. I had set in my mind that Shattered Sword was written by the book that Terry's been reading about the aircraft, the various air wars and all that. It actually wasn't. It's written by Jonathan Parshall and Anthony Tunney. So thanks, Ken, for pointing that out.
So actually, just to correct that one more time, it's Anthony Tully.
And is that what I not said?
You said Tunney.
Tully.
And thanks, Ken Freund.
Yes. Yeah, I would say Freund. Yeah,
Freund? Okay. Freund. Thanks for writing in. He's read all of them. He likes them all. He says the books
Nice.
are very good, including the ones you're reading. I'm still trying to find some of the ones up here at one of the local libraries for some of the ones you've been reading, Terry. So,
Or
all right.
if I have physical copies, I'm happy to send them.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see how we do. I got a ton of my to read pile is huge right now. As we'll talk about later. Okay, latest hobby announcements. It's a little bit of a light week, but some gorgeous things for the car guys and for the those of us who wish to be. Mung's Audi R8 LMS GT3 2019 and 24 scale. GT3 is very popular class. This is absolutely gorgeous.
It really is.
Licensed by Audi. Isn't that just pretty?
I wonder how much that box weighs and whether it would weigh almost the same as the Musaru Cup box.
Sadly, no. Sadly, no. I don't think so. 1/24th, and yeah, there's some nice things. 5.2 liter V10 engine, 585 horsepower.
Man,
yeah.
that'll get you the milk store quickly.
Oh God, yeah. And home before the milk gets and you're home before the milk even gets a degree warmer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Kit includes standard stainless steel photo etch parts, safety belts made of special fabric material, and pre-cut painting masks. See, if you can make it easier like that, I would almost consider something like that. You got a roll cage. Look at the interior. Lots of flashy buttons.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's really a tempting kind of project that I know I'll probably never build.
Yeah.
Brakes, gold color brake calipers.
The tires and the wheels themselves would be a project.
Mm-hmm.
I'll check it out. They have a shaping tool to shape the photo etch for the intakes.
I like that. See, that's
the
good.
Intake pages. That's pretty damn awesome.
That's good. So that's scheduled in October. So definitely check that out. Speaking of October, 2 large scale kits from our friends at Trumpeter. 32nd scale F-35B. So this is the short takeoff vertical landing of the F-35. And 1/16 seems to be the new scale for the armor guys. The famous German half-track, the SD KFZ 251. So the F-35, 169 US. Again, designed to be short takeoff and landing. The Marines are going to be using this one. Chris, anything you want to say about this one?
I love the paint on that plane. I just wish that it was easy to replicate, because when you see it, it really is attractive.
Yes, it is. Full weapons loadout.
Well, it is gray. I mean, that there is that. I am so sick of gray in modern planes. I just like them to be ballsy and paint them all red.
You can paint them as you want. Make it a what if. I keep telling you that. Pretty high part count, some photo etch, highly detailed engines, and the aftermarket guys are going to be all over this. There's been some gorgeous aftermarket stuff on the 48 scale Tamiya on the exhausts and stuff like that. The 3D printed stuff, just absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's going to be a nice piece. Hopefully we'll see 1 or 2 of those on the tables within a few years. Almost 50 centimeters in length, 41 centimeters in width, 400 parts. Again, bigger, obviously better in some people's minds. Then we have the 1/16 for 115 bucks US of the SD KFZ 251, the half track, the D type. Very common, 15,000 vehicles and 23 variants produced by 7 manufacturers. Again, if you like the big stuff.
I think it's is it a thing that as we get older, we need bigger models to work on?
I'm really wondering, because we seem to see that, and obviously the quality they can produce, the bigger stuff, is better. Workable tracks, of course, at this scale. But some people, I think that's what it is. Well, look at Andy's Hobby headquarters. They're doing gangbusters sales wise on their 1/16 releases.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's some people, large scale planes have been around for years.
Yeah.
Forums there. So, if you have the room, it's just like anything else. It's like in the artsy world. You got these guys building like 1/9 scale 747s that require a van to bring the damn thing to the field.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more risky when you fly them. So, Yeah. So anyway, that is Arma's their next hurricane. I'm waiting for the first one to show up at my local. They're going to be the Mark II C Tropical. That's the next 48 scale from our friends at Arma. Again, based on what I've seen on the preliminary reports, people are liking this. And this one looks good as well. You're going to have 3 masking options. The Hurricane Bomber from 34 Squadron. What else? Number 1 Squadron, South African Air Force in Egypt, and also another one in Egypt. The McRobert Fighter Sir Ian, number 94 Squadron, also in Egypt. So
nice. Well, if it's anything like that P-51 kit, they're outstanding.
Yeah.
They seem to be. They really do seem to be hitting all the nails.
Full details, full masking. Yeah, I've got 2 already, 2 other 48 scale Hurricanes in the stash, but I want to get this one again just based on some of their other kits. Just gorgeous. Their 72nd Hurricane was just a work of art. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one, and it comes with the masking set. So you can't go wrong. So hopefully the first one will be out fairly soon. Okay, here's one we're all in agreement of. This is the beginner set from Italeri, both an F-16 and an M1 Abrams. Complete set. So it's different from like you see some of the ones just come with glue and paint. This comes with the kit, an F-16 or an Abrams tank. Comes with some Vallejo paints, a tweezers, brush, a sprue cutter, sanding, kind of everything you need. This is a really, really cool idea. Chris, you had some good comments on this.
Well, yeah, it took me back to some of those all-in-one kits from years ago, where it came with a white-handled nylon brush and gloopy paints, and it really wasn't a bargain if you think about it in terms of getting this as a gift. But this thing was great because it even has Vallejo paints, and it's a nice plane too. It's not just any old F-16. It's the Night Hunter version with the laser designator. So it's a really cool airplane to get too. What a fantastic thing to buy someone who's thinking of giving this hobby a try.
Yeah. And like we mentioned, it's actually one of Little Vallejo's number 2 round tapered brushes, not one of those old glue application brushes that they
exactly
woodworkers glue.
But double-sided sandpaper, sprue cutter, precision tweezer, brush, 3x7 milliliter acrylic paints, liquid cement, so it's not even crappy tube glue. No offense to people who like the Tester's tube glue. And of course the plastic kit, and of course it varies. You can either get the M1 Abrams or you can get this very nice looking F-16. It hadn't occurred to me. This is the 2-seater. Very nice looking one. So that should be coming out fairly soon. And again, I think it's a good idea that Italeri's, they obviously feel there is a market for it. And as you say, a great gift idea. And they're going to be available the first week of August, and according to the press release, they will be expanded with other interesting subjects dedicated to World War II. So we'll probably see something like a Mustang or a 109 or something like that. Oh, hang on. Next issue's apparently a Stuka and a King Tiger. There we go on the press release. So so very cool idea. All righty. Let's go back to my notes here. Okay. And then from one extreme to another, 3D Wild, our good friends at 3D Wild, those wild and crazy guys. Again, this is a cool idea. This is going to be at Nats. They're going to have a prototype of a 1/200th diorama kit. This is going to be basically the USS Nimitz, the island, and a bit of the flight deck around the island in 200 scale. Looks like it's going to include some aircraft, even a little helicopter. You can mount as it's dropping off cargo, some ground vehicles, and the island itself. What a great idea for those who love this sort of thing, but don't have the space to be or the insanity to build a full-on 1/200th Nimitz class aircraft carrier.
Well, it's interesting that they go with 1/200 scale rather than 1/44.
Yeah, a few people commented on that. Again, it's going to be pretty big though, even at that scale.
Yeah, but 144 is much more universal as far as other aircraft too.
You put an airplane beside it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Like this is not going to be inexpensive, but the detail looks great. And like you've got what, 4 F-18s and or four Hornets, and then it looks like a tractor or something. I don't know what
tractor and a Hawkeye.
There's a Hawkeye, a couple of helicopters. Yeah, one helicopter in the air.
Yeah, but I love the way they've done that because they got like a brass. Looks like it's lifting it's dropping a package onto the deck.
Oh yes,
yeah.
And that package is sort of the stand for the helicopter, which is a great idea.
And it looks like you got a good mix multimedia. You got a mix of photo etch in there, if you look carefully. In fact, the rope, quote unquote, the helicopter looks like a piece of photo etch. The helicopter blades, again, they do some absolutely amazing things. 3D miniatures.
Did someone recently bring out an Akagi aircraft carrier tower, something like that?
Yeah, so
that was Border.
Border, that's right. That's right.
And 200th is becoming a not uncommon scale for ships.
No, exactly.
Yeah, the larger scales. It's like the 1/16th. It's like the 1/16th for tanks, right? You can come out with 1/200th. Go big or go home. But yeah, looking at some of these details from their Facebook posts, this is gorgeous.
Yeah. It's really nice. To me, though, this is more of an aircraft display piece rather than a ship thing.
Yeah.
And
that's what they call it.
That's kind of odd to use a ship scale for aircraft.
Yeah, but you could do that forced perspective thing, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could be very artsy with something. I just think it's a great idea. I love that they're doing these kinds of things.
And you know what? There's probably someone out there who says, I always wanted to build a 1/200th units, but I know I don't have the skill to do the island. Now they can do the island and away they go, right? But yeah, that looks like it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that when it's on display at NATS. So yeah, that'll be kind of cool. All right. Our good friend Lincoln Wright, he's got his latest book out, Luna Combat, the MAK Lincoln Report, Volume 2. He's got it available for pre-order. It's going to be $49.50. Maschinen Krieger English limited edition, 128 pages, following the acclaimed volume 1. So yeah, this is going to be, as he says, keep falling down the MAK rabbit hole here. US dollars, estimated shipping in August. So shipping from Australia. And again, if you know Lincoln's work, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's kind of defined the MAK of this era.
Yeah.
For weathering and everything, and he's been on the show before, so
yeah, we've had him on. We're going to try and get him on again.
That would be good.
Yeah, and some gorgeous stuff there. It's hard to find over here in Canada, but when you do, it's expensive, but it's gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous kits like they have the Maschinen Krieger and that. So yeah, definitely one to check out from our good friend. And like I said, yeah, we're going to have him on at some point. Okay. It was pretty light for announcements, but anyway, what's new at ScaleMates? So let's go to ScaleMates here, where I've linked up full kits only, new tools. It's July 24th today when we're recording this. Oh, look, a bug.
Another bug.
Another bug.
Priscilla limbata. That's like Hakuna Matata.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, exactly.
No
okay,
scale.
I have a question. What TV show is that TVR-17 from, Stuart? You would know.
Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet.
It's a Jerry
Anderson. Sure. It's from Captain Scarlet. Yeah, if I recall. Yep. Yeah, they screwed up the product timeline. It's from the same company that did the Yellow Fox security vehicle.
Yeah.
But no, that's from Captain Scarlet.
Yeah, neat.
Half studio scale resin model kit. Again, the sci-fi guys will be very excited about that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Bandai Spirits is released. I think it's the first release from Code Geass.
Yeah, I saw that. And they seem to have a lot. I think they're going to have a few more from it as well.
They wouldn't do just one.
Yeah, they're going to do quite a few different ones. They've been releasing a lot. I'm hoping, like I said, we'll get Anthony on at some point, and he can bring us up to speed. Bunch of Bandai Spirit stuff. 22nd, the ABD model, the bus van 143, garbage truck, refrigerator van.
You skipped right past the slaughtered pigs suspended off.
Yeah, we skipped right past that.
Yeah, there was a reason why. But you know what? Hey, I'm sure someone thinks there's a market. You know. Yeah. What else we got here? How about the YU Supersonic from the 21st? Project number 1. L&M resin kits. I've never even seen this. What is this? Some sort of Russian or Chinese?
No,
maybe?
it's Chinese. That looks like Chinese.
Yeah. Looks a bit like a Eurofighter.
It looks, or a grip. Yeah, maybe more like
or
a Griffin.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that could be.
There's the Audi again. Oh, researchers in a Tyrannosaurus set. That's exciting.
What could possibly go wrong?
and they're padding it. They're padding the Tyrannosaurus. Never mind.
Yeah. Hobby Boss. We talked about this briefly a couple of shows ago. They're coming out with their own version of the Titanic in 1/700 scale.
Tron Recognizer.
Yeah, that's the 3D printed file.
Yeah.
Oh, I did notice, and I forgot to include it, probably because it was not, in my opinion, under the category of too soon. Someone has built a resin kit of the Titan, the submersible that met an untimely end by Titanic.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's too soon. Japanese submarine, 1/350th.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. All sorts of goodies here, eh?
How about it?
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh,
I could use that.
Clear Prop, another one from Clear Prop.
Yeah.
Polycarpov, I-16, very nice.
Yeah. In the sky of China. There you go.
Aero A34 KOS. Chris, have you ever built anything with like 2 wings biplanes?
Yes, I built a 1/48 scale Edward Fokker, the one with the 2 wings, the late war one.
Yep.
And that's the one. And I quickly learned that keeping them level was a very difficult exercise, but I learned from that. And then I built, it's from Eastern Europe. It's called an ABK model, and it's an early Japanese carrier fighter biplane. I posted that on my site. I'm unfortunately, I just can't remember because it had like a number that I wasn't familiar with. Anyway, that was a fun kit. And I learned how you keep the top wing level with the bottom wing and not scissored. That's the other thing. So it's not just leveling them. They just can't look scissored from the top down. That's always a...
So how did you do that without using a jig?
You put it forward on a box, and then you lean it forward, and you make sure that you're just working that top plane on there.
Interesting.
So it's a lot easier to see it when you're on YouTube. I can probably forward you someone's tips on how to do it. But there's a way of doing it, and it relatively works. I mean, it's better to have a better kit to do it with. Those Edward ones were kind of challenging, but this one wasn't.
Try a wing nuts next, Chris.
Well, sure.
Well, you have yours to build, Jeff. I'm just saying.
I do.
Yeah,
I have a few.
You got a few to build. Yeah, I am liking this researchers in Tyrannosaurus set. I'm looking at the bigger thing there. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong there?
You're gonna see a few of those.
There's another Japanese plane here, in 32nd scale, KI-32, the Mary, the pre-war.
Yep.
It's sort of like the Sonia, or maybe the predecessor of the Sonia.
Right.
I have to look it up. Interesting.
There you go. All sorts of goodies. So yeah, a little bit slow month, but it tends to be just before Nats. People are hiding what they're going to release. But yeah,
you can always almost predict which plane is going to get Terry's attention.
Oh yeah, he's pretty easy to figure out.
All it needs is a big bunch of glass. That's what he.
That's right. A nice big greenhouse.
It's got a greenhouse. He's all over it. All right. So those are from our friends at ScaleMates. Okay. Yeah. The other reason we have Chris here, he runs like a little blog YouTube channel. You probably haven't heard of it, Model Airplane Maker. Not many people have. So he's had a couple of interesting posts. By the way, I did like your buy high and sell low post. How very true.
Very true.
Yeah, very true on that one. But the one we're talking about now is, he titled it and he posted it on the 18th, Why Our Model Shows Have Competitions. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Chris, and you can kind of give a little bit of some background and your comments on this, and we'll go through what the interwebs think.
Sure, no problem. So this was one of those things. Another hobby of mine is I like to go kayaking. I go kayaking. There's a river very close to me, the Rideau. And as I was doing this, usually I listen to history podcasts, but on this particular day, I was listening to the Moj, or the Plastic Model Mojo podcast. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the competition on this show.
Of course you are. They're good friends
All right,
of ours. Yeah.
They're very reflective gents, and they have in one segment of their show, they had I guess it was a European or a German, I can't remember exactly who, but he asked the question, why do you think that on American shows the focus is on contest, whereas at European shows the focus seems to be on display? And the host sort of went down, I think, just more of I'm paraphrasing, but it was just sort of like they took the cultural difference between the two continents and said, Americans might be a little bit more prone to competition because, well, they're just big on competing, and maybe Europeans aren't. And they really just left it at that. But as I'm paddling, me, and I got to thinking, and
little smoke starts coming out of the top of the boat. Yes, as he's thinking.
I was just sort of thinking that explanation just kind of like was just scratching the surface, because I mean, we've all met the win at all cost types, right? We've all seen the guy who goes in there, slaps the thing on the table, waits with bated breath to get his award at the end, and if he doesn't get it, then you never hear the end of it. But I don't think that's the majority of people that are there. I really don't. I think people want to go and have a competition, have a fair competition, and see what's there. But I don't see the raging competition type. And that was sort of my thought to that. And then it's just like, okay, well, if that's not why they're doing it, then why exactly are they doing it, right? And then I thought, I read an article a few years ago. It was by a guy named Tim Wu. It's called In Praise of Mediocrity. It's a little short one. I have it linked in the blog, and I think it was a very interesting read in and of itself, because he was saying that hobbies are somewhat dying in North America, at least. We're not talking about Europe, but we're just talking about North America. And he was saying it's dying, and he figures it's because people are afraid of being bad at hobbies. Or he said, maybe not they're just afraid of it, but they're just not what was it? That they're not skilled enough to do it, right? And that they're going to be bad at them, and maybe that there's going to be sort of this view of them. If you're not good at it, then why are you doing it in the first place? So like he had a few examples. Like if you're a jogger, it's not just enough that you jog around the block at the end of the day. You have to be preparing for a marathon, right? Or if you're a painter, you can't just enjoy your watercolors in your backyard on a Sunday. You're preparing to maybe get a gallery showing or get a huge Instagram following. It's this type of thing that he was getting at. And it wasn't just, we're not pursuing it for the pure enjoyment of it. So of course I go down that line, right? This is me. And I thought, well, Chris, why did you go to your first competition? And I think, thinking about what Tim Wu said, I think in terms of myself, it was sort of a justification. It was a way of what I say in my blog post, legitimizing my pursuit of this. And then I go on a little bit more into depth with that. But at the end of the blog post, I just look back and say, well, that's really silly. A $2 award isn't going to make me a better modeler. And it's certainly not proof that all of a sudden everything that I've done up until now is justified to nobody. The only person that can really justify or legitimize my hobby is me. But that was just my thought process, and I jotted it down because I don't think I'm the only one who looks at it that way, or at least goes to contests with that mindset or started that way. I know, or at least I guess we'll get into this discussion in a minute. I know that some people that commented on my blog post said, well, it sort of devolved into the whole, contest versus non-contest, show versus non-show. I didn't really think, if I left the impression that I don't think there should be competition, that's definitely not the intent. I certainly didn't say that. I think competition's good. I think competition's great for many reasons, especially if you're looking to improve, certainly see what other people are doing and how they're pulling it off. But don't use this as some sort of legitimizing of how you are enjoying your time away from work or the grind or whatever it is. It's something that should enhance your enjoyment of the hobby, not legitimize it or somehow justify it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, and it comes back down to it's your hobby. You enjoy it the way you want. That's really one of the most important things. And I think the internet and social media has kind of painted that now with that unrealistic expectation at times. Like I love posting content. I love doing my inbox reviews and stuff like that. But it's actually more for me, especially when I do my build blogs. It's more for me to kind of keep me going, and as notes and things like that. And I think, depending on where you go, there is, depending which part of the world you're in, there is more focus on display only or a competition. And and I've said this before many times on the show. If you enjoy building for competitions, and if it's a high pressure thing, and but you're enjoying it, then more power to you. I build what I want, in terms of I try and improve every time, but I also, I make sure I'm doing something I'm enjoying. If it's something that I'm not enjoying, then I'm not going to do it as often.
Yeah, I mean, I entered my first contest this year, the first time I've ever done that, and I did it purely because of rampant peer pressure at our local club. I'd taken my build to a local club meeting, and several people suggested I should show it at Heritage Con. And so I took it to Heritage Con, and it was kind of, I was also writing an article about the build for IPMS Canada's magazine, and it was kind of nice to be able to add that in as a last thing, that I took it and I displayed it at Heritage Con. And then I think I was probably the most surprised when I actually won something for it.
I wasn't surprised, Jeff.
No, I wasn't either.
I really was. In fact, it's the weirdest thing. I keep that magazine beside my night table now, and I look at it every now and again because the plane's on the cover, and I look at it and I say, I don't believe I actually built that. Because it looks so damn good.
And then, of course, the hobby manufacturer realized that they better build, an aftermarket set because you did such a fine job.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get at is not like, oh, wow, Jeff did a nice model, but it was that I didn't put it in to win anything. I put it in because I kind of wanted to participate in a way. I've gone to these shows a lot, and I've seen all the work that other people have done, and I've always kind of felt, I probably should put something in too, just at least to be part of this community, as much as anything else. I don't expect to win anything. The stuff I see on the tables is amazing, and it's very subjective. So on any given day, who knows what's going to happen?
Exactly.
But so you don't want to sort of govern your sense of self-worth by whether you win or not, because then you're putting your fate in the hands of everybody else and all of their personal opinions, and God knows what they had for breakfast that morning. And it's to me, the whole concept, the whole point about participating in these shows is not to win something, it's to participate, to sort of be there and be on the table and show people, this is what we do, and it's pretty good. It's good stuff.
And I think part of it too is that, again, we can go into, without trying to go too far down the rabbit hole of ABC or first, second, third versus gold, silver, bronze. There's different advantages, and there's modelers that prefer one format over another. I myself would be more inclined to do a gold, silver, bronze, just, in terms of, because that way I want to see, okay, if I decide to go that route, I want to make sure I'm doing it to a standard that my peers have judged that that's the way it should be. And I think, as you said, any given day, there's kits that place first in a regional competition that don't do as well as Nats because it's on any given day. Mm-hmm. And what the mood of the judge is, as you say, if the judge got himself a bad breakfast burrito, is not feeling bad, well, he may be judging a bit more harsh, So I think one of the other things as well, Chris, I remember, and I had to find it, you did another blog post back in March called "It's Okay to Suck." And, it's very, very true as well. I love it. I love the title, but it's kind of, yeah.
There's a couple things along that. A is you never improve. No. If you never get feedback, you will never improve. Mm-hmm. So there's that. There's also it takes me back to a quote from Kurt Vonnegut. I can read it. He said he went from failure, someone who hadn't been talented enough at anything to excel, to someone who did things because he enjoyed them. I had been raised in such an achievement-oriented environment, so inundated with the myth of talent, that I thought it was only worth doing things if you could win at them. And that's
bingo
a key.
Right there. Yep.
You don't have to win. I mean, Self-Help Sing tells us, don't even try to win. But it's not. It's a hobby. This is no one's going to be. Everybody's going to be better at something than anybody else, and we're all better together than we are separately. No one is. Very, very few people, I should say, are good at everything in this hobby, and they will admit that there are entire things, vast bits and pieces that they don't even bother with, or they won't even try for, because they're good at what they do and they enjoy what they do. So they're going to get better at it. They're going to do it. And even if you aren't great at it, if you just spend, if your whole thing is doing 8-hour builds to have fun with it, and not buying the super most expensive kit, that's fine. It's yours. I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's your hobby. It's your inspiration. It's okay not to be the best or whatever. I don't know why we all think we need to be. And these are we all win awards. We're all pretty good at what we do. We all have plenty of projects where we know this ain't a winner. This is never going to a show.
But we had fun building it, and that's exactly it.
And some of those with a display site, I might have brought that, and people would go by, holy shit, you built that? You actually bothered to build it? It's like, yeah, it was not fun. But
go ahead.
Sorry, Stuart.
Go ahead, Chris.
Just sort of following on what Terry was saying, that one that I wrote about it being okay to suck, what I was trying to say there is the only way you're going to get better at this is if you take risks, you try new things, and guess what? You're going to suck. It's not going to be your first attempt at chipping. You're going to be winning multiple awards and getting magazine spreads. But that's okay. Give it a shot. And what's the worst that could happen? You mess up a $30 kit, go buy another one. No one's keeping stats on this. Certainly no one's reporting it. And like I said in that one, embrace it. It's going to be a process. But at the end of it, if you really take the risk, you're going to reap the rewards and you're going to get better. You're going to enjoy actually the process. You might, and there's going to be some hilarity as well. So,
always.
That was always like a standard speech I gave to my kids all the time was, no one learns from success, because success just reinforces something. What you learn from is failing, and the key isn't that you failed or you didn't succeed. The key is how you deal with that. Do you learn from that experience? What do you think you could improve on the next time? What like that kind of thing? It's a classic. It's very much scientific method. You try something, and if that doesn't work, try something a little bit different, or try a little different angle. It's all failure is not an option. It's a mandatory. If you want to grow up.
And there are and look, we're getting older. There are plenty of guys out there. You're losing muscle. You're losing eyesight, you're losing dexterity or such. The level of stuff you're going to put out there may not be as fine as you did 15 years ago when everything worked well. If you're in your 80s or something and you're still building stuff, great. I have enough kits to last me 200 years.
None of us no one else has that problem, do we? No.
Speak for yourself, Terry. Speak for yourself.
Well, no, and that's exactly what it is. I love the one thing I did like, Chris, is the very last line of that suck article is you would compare it to like mountain biking, and I love this. The best part: it's highly unlikely that I will vomit off the side of the workbench when I push too hard.
It depends what your modeling fluid is.
That's true. That's a whole other story. I can't have too many modeling fluids because, again, with age, I end up having a nap. I don't want to do a face plant into the kit. exactly. So I guess the big takeaway is enjoy it. Don't worry about other people. Exactly. So you had some interesting feedback around the interwebs. Looks like Britain's a bit different as normal. Telford, not as much competition, but I guess in some of the other shows like Mosan and stuff like that, there is healthy competition in both healthy competition and display. And I think it's something we need to, here in North America, we need to look at more, because I was thinking it's been challenging after COVID. I know Heritage Con, the first year they were back, they weren't supposed to have displays only. They did again this year. And I know our show, because again, it's you have to organize it. You have to make sure you've got room, but it's something hopefully we can have a display table or 3 or 4 at our show. That would be nice.
That's a challenge, though.
That's
the challenge with it because, I mean, particularly like with our show, this is the first one we've done in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And we don't know how many people are going to come out. We don't know how big it's going to be.
We've increased the number of tables for competition, but exactly. So
yeah, we know the space that we've got. We know how many we have. Getting a good idea of how many vendors are coming. It's a good number of vendors, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But you just don't know. You don't want to have like a bunch of tables and 3 models on them. You want to fill it out. It's almost like we have to get the club members to be there as backup just in case we need, and that's where your display table comes from. You just okay. Well,
and you also need to have the right people at these tables engaging with people that want to ask questions, that want to get information. I can't emphasize it enough that you don't want someone who doesn't want to be there or just wants to bury his or her head in a model build and just, can't be bothered with kids pestering them with questions. if you are going to rep, then rep properly, and have the right people and take shifts. Don't do this for hours and hours on end.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
Exactly.
Take a shift.
It's a great way to take a rest at a show. To me,
exactly.
That sounds like a fantastic place.
Well,
that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that before, but there've been a lot of times at shows where I kind of walked past the table because I could see that the person behind the table did not want me to ask a question.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that. And again, even things like the make and take. I was at our local anime store near Neo Tokyo on the weekend, picking up some things, and they have a lovely young lady that works part-time, and she's got kids and got her kids in the hobby, and we were talking about the make and take table, and I was saying, you should see with the boss, see if you can do it, because she says, yeah, I'm hoping to. It's something I enjoy doing. I have kids myself, and yeah, exactly. You got to have people-friendly people. It's like in professional life, I'm in IT, and you definitely have some people that are better front of house and some people that are better back of house, and you lock them up. Yeah. And you need to make sure you've got the correct people in the correct spot.
And
that is the most polite way I've ever heard that put. That is so like diplomatic, Stuart. It seems everywhere to me that you've had this discussion or you've had this description before.
Yes, we have
for the record too. That is not just for IT, because I know in the legal profession there are some that are front of house and some that should be.
Any profession we find, definitely,
absolutely,
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes they switch between the two. Sometimes the older they get, they'll move to the other side. Either way, it's interesting how that works. But yeah, exactly. So no, it's a good discussion, and I'm hoping it's something, again, like we say, the hobby evolves, and this is something that used to be bigger, and maybe it's something we need to bring back. So
well, think about Heritage Con when we were there, because the last time I saw you three, that room was packed with people. Yeah. And I don't think most of them brought a model to compete. They were there to see this. Now, maybe they were there to pick up some cheap models. I don't know. But I would say the vast majority there were to catch the whole show, see the whole thing. Imagine having a bunch of people with a display or information, whatever it is. You're a group with a historical society. It doesn't really matter. You're going to have that wonderful opportunity to meet with people and to sell your brand. And it's going to be a fantastic thing, especially at Heritage Con. So I hope they bring it back there, or at least give it a try at some point.
Yeah, I didn't.
There was one group at Heritage Con. The Tabletop Gaming Society or something. I can't
Yeah, they were
remember.
there and they were showing some of their gaming miniatures, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they looked at it the right way. They looked at it as an opportunity to kind of explain their passion to potential newcomers and get a sense of what does this look like? What does tabletop gaming look like? And they did a great job. They had some pretty interesting stuff there.
Well, and there's so much cross pollination there. Like you look at the stuff, the guys that are into the Warhammer 40K and Warhammer, and they're painting up miniatures. And that our club president Frank, he did an artillery piece recently for his son who's got a 40K army. And there's so much that can be shared between the two hobbies, and that's why we're making sure we have categories at our show for figures. And if someone wants to bring a Space Marine and they painted it up, why not enter it if you want, or display it? There's some amazing work from the miniature guys. Very, very similar idea. So yeah, and again, these hobbyists, people who think, gamers aren't real. Well, Games Workshop had their latest edition of 40K. It was a combined set with Space Marines and like giant bugs called Tyranids. That thing I think was $250, and I know our local store, they had hundreds of pre-orders. People are dropping $250.
Well,
it's kit plus paints.
It's Games Workshop, so it's
But still, the fact that there is a market willing, there's a lot of market out there, a lot of demand. And, our local game shop, they have probably a larger paint line than any of the hobby shops right now.
Games shops are definitely worth looking at for supplies.
Definitely. Amazing paints and stuff like that. We're hoping, I've got to remind our show committee, I believe Game Chamber is interested, so I got to remind them to make sure we reach out to them again, just what I'm thinking aloud here. But definitely another good one. So yeah, definitely look at all that. Okay. Do you think we've beaten that to death, Chris?
Sure.
Chris to death. No, he's not dead yet.
No, we don't beat Chris. He's family here. All right. Speaking of some family, we're going to talk about our good friend at Cult TV Man and all the new sci-fi stuff they did from a pre-recorded ad. So here we go. Now a brief break from the podcast as we look at what's new and coming soon and all that good stuff from our good friend Steve at culttvman.com or culttvmanshop.com. Exciting news, box art from round 2, Cronus 1, and Hex marks the spot. And the best news at all is the kits are going to be, for Cronus 1 and the light kit, will be arriving in 1 to 2 weeks. The photo etch maybe a few weeks later. So very cool stuff. Of course, Cronus 1 is the Emperor's battle cruiser from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. This is the Polar Lights kit in 1/350th. As I mentioned, you can get a lighting kit, and it's also coming with an awesome photo etch set from our friends at Paragraphics. Have designed it. 56 brass pieces there. Looks really good. And then from the new Limburg line, the Jolly Roger series, the 1/12th Hex marks the spot. Glow in the dark for you pirate movie fans. And that looks really awesome as well. Also, the reissued Millennium Falcon from MPC has been coming out soon. It has upgraded parts. Steve was actually good enough to do a video. If you go to culttvman.com, you can find that video there where he compares the new kit to the old one. Well worth a watch if you want to know what's happening there. Also, some new products coming. Let's see here. If we go to culttvman.com, we have The Witch on pre-order. From Dolan Hobby. As I said, the Millennium Falcon, it's in stock. Yours for $69.99 US. Also for $69.99, the Jurassic Park T-Rex and Malcolm diorama, 1/35th from X Plus. I'm looking forward to seeing what some people do with some 1/35th armor kits. And also one I kind of like is the Nautilus from Pegasus Hobbies. This is a nice looking one. Comes a nice little diorama with a giant squid engaged in battle with Captain Nemo's craft. A lot of new figure busts. We've mentioned that before. Just, all sorts of cool things. So as always, check them out at culttvman.com or culttvmanshop.com and tell them the Scale Model Podcast sent you. Okay, we're back with what's on the bench. I'll go first because that might give Chris time to come up with what he is or is not working on. And he can write it down in the Google Doc or whatever. I'm working on, it's one of two. It's the Bandai 144 TIE Fighter. It comes with the TIE Fighter and the Advanced. Great little kit, good price, but $11. Good friend of the show, Dave Blappy Gertan, took one down to Wonderfest, and they had a diorama idea with the gun towers. So he had racing spaceships, including a TIE Fighter, and that kind of gave me some inspiration. So I want to do something a little bit different. So I painted the solar panels. I got it together primed, but painted the solar panels in Aqueous metal black because they finally got that in the store. I put a gloss coat on, and then I'm going to try just a very subtle hint of the metallic violet from Mr. Metallic color range, which they got in. I've also got the Mr. Metallic blue. I'm going to use that for the satellite space probe I'll talk about in a second. And then when I mask the panels off, I might either use the same violet color, or I've got some Tamiya purple. I got an idea of a purple TIE Fighter. Why the hell not? And then I've also primed and airbrushed Tamiya gold onto some parts of the Hayabusa Musa C space probe, and the solar panels are going to be fun because again, I primed them, and then I'm going to try again their metallic dark blue from Mr. Color, the Mr. Metallic color. I've never tried it, but again, and it's a lacquer, so it stinks to hell back. But I'm going to give it a whirl and then try some oil washes in that, and we'll see how that comes off. And that should nicely keep me busy until the Musaru Cup unboxing happens. So yeah, when I can, it's been really busy. I'm back working in the field at the hospital right now, and my colleagues, the other guy I work with, he's away for 2 weeks. So it's just me, keeping the barbarians at the gate. So makes for some long days, and then there's this matter of this show and that our local group is planning in September. So that's keeping me busy as well. So that's me, Jeff.
Nothing. I do nothing. It's middle of summer. I'm
bloody retired guy.
I'm telling you, frankly, I have so many things to do outside, but we've had so much rain lately that there's tons of little pools of water, and which means what? Mosquitoes, lots of mosquitoes. And so going outside is unpleasant, shall we say. So
you can get a flamethrower.
Well, today I actually dosed myself up with the insecticide or whatever the hell it is you spray on yourself.
All right.
And it was manageable. I could cope with it.
Yeah.
And I managed to do some work around the pool and get some gardening done and do that sort of thing. But we have all this crap to do before these weddings happen here. So
that's right.
I got 3 weeks, I think, 2-3 weeks. But in the meantime, when it comes to modeling, if I'm bored stiff, I'll come downstairs and I'll throw some more putty on this beast and then plow away at it.
So just why don't you tell Chris what that is in a brief history?
It's an ancient Delta II, which is I think it's French, a crap model of the Savoia Marchetti S55X twin-hulled aircraft from the 1930s. That's just very strange. And so that's why I liked it. And I bought it as a kit, as a made kit, and stripped all the paint off of it. And I've been slowly putting it back together, and nothing fit. So there's lots of extra bits and pieces here and there just to round out everything. And
that came from 427 Wing, right?
It came from 427 Wing. I got a whole bunch. I got this Labalula doohickey thing, and and the Avro car, and I got, God knows what this is. I know we finally figured out what it is, but it's the weirdest plane where the cockpit is back here.
You have fun with that. Like I said, if it's weird and wacky and old, you're into it. You're as bad as our buddy Adam now with the frog kits.
Well, yeah, Adam does it just with cars. I'm kind of like all over the map with all kinds of. If it's a crappy old kit, I'm kind of actually more interested in it than a Tamiya kit.
Yeah, and definitely one for the display table.
Yeah, so my approach to it is like, honestly, it's not going to get much worse than it already started with. So,
and he gets to use his power sander on it. So what can go wrong? You got a good excuse for that. Alrighty, Terry.
Yeah, not much on the bench. It's typical summer. I've got a lot of other things going on, but I'm behind on all of them because of the puppies.
I like the comment here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Zeus. Yeah, they're good dogs though. I mean, it's fun. You got to take it. They're pups. Got to enjoy this time. I've been out in the field a few times doing some photos and such, and I have yet to get all those processed. So backing up. It's all backing up.
That's summer.
Yep.
And the puppies are cute.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of chance to do some sanding on some of this stuff, but
so I have a suggestion for you. Don't go out of town on business again for a while, because if you come home, there might be another one in the house. I'm just saying. It's just yeah. All right, Chris. I know you got a house move you're dealing with.
Yeah, well, actually, I can bring you up to date with a few things. So I lost my beautiful, wonderful, fully finished hobby studio, and now I'm rebuilding one. So I'm building one almost from scratch. We'll call it phase 1A complete. So I have some lights, a desk. I have all my stuff in there now. Okay. Phase 1B is going to be a horrible phase because I have to reinstall my airbrush booth trunking to go to the outside, and I have to go into a crawl space, and I have issues with entombment, and I don't really want to do it, but
Don't you have children? Don't you have children for that?
Oh yeah, that'll really work with a 9-year-old girl. She'll be really enthusiastic about going in there and in the dark and everything like that. But I'm making it sound worse than it is. I'll get it done probably in the next few weeks. And before I made the move, I was working on Tamiya's venerable old mid 1990s Corsair, and I put a little video out about all the improvements that I've been doing to the base kit. So like I put in a 3D cockpit. I did I wired and plumbed all the landing gear. I made wingtip lights that were clear lights with the bulbs in them. And I rewired the engine, and I did all that. So I put a little video on that before, maybe about a couple months ago. Yep. So the next video will be me painting it, and I'm almost at that point. Cool. So it's just masking this thing. Oh, and I even I scratch built the new armor glass because the one that comes with the kit is not very good, but you can really improve it very easily, and I show you how to do that. So that's it. And then hopefully I'll get that done at some point this summer and put a new video on there and get back in the video chair.
Yeah, that'll be good. And then I also saw that one of Ottawa's favorite hobby shops is going to be moving soon.
It is. So insider information. Yeah. Not only did I move closer to it, it will now be moving closer to me.
That explains why they moved.
Walking distance. Well,
oh my God.
it would be a real good walk, but it's now within a feasible walking, or will be within a feasible walking distance. The hobby center will be moving to sort of South Maryvale area. The store will be I don't want to say small. I mean, I guess it'll be slightly smaller, but the windows and the space, I've been inside what they're building and putting together. Looks fantastic. It's going to be just a fantastic store. So if you ever do get to the Ottawa area and you want to go to a hobby shop that is just literally chock full to the rafters with kits, that's the place to go. It's so strange how many collections and estates that he gets in.
I noticed that he's been getting a lot more. Yeah, and we don't get very many here. Yeah.
And I know that he does a really good job in terms of making sure that everything is complete before it goes on the shelf and everything like that. So you do have some assurance that you're not going to get something that's been severely spanked or anything like that. It's going to be, basically, it's going to be a new kit that you're going to buy, but tons of models in there. So it'll be fun when it finally all works out.
And Bill's a great ambassador for the hobby and very helpful over the years. And I love when he comes down to Heritage Con with some of his all the goodies. I always make sure I stop by and see him. So yeah, very good. Okay, the other thing we started doing is a series on what we're currently reading. This is Terry's idea. We may not be updated as often, but yeah, I'm about halfway through The Victorian Internet by Tom Stage. This is all about the history of the telegraph and how its effect on civilization. There's a lot of parallels with the creation of the internet. It's quite interesting. So yeah, just slowly but surely getting through that on the ebook. So that's been kind of fun when I've had some time. I have an absolute pile of stuff to go through next. I tend to read more in the winter, but I'm trying to I'm trying to stay off instead of scrolling, doom scrolling on the socials. I'm trying to get like a couple of pages written. It's on the phone. It's easy to do. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Jeff, how about you, sir?
I am so glad you said it, because I was going to say that too, that I am so sick of doom scrolling on my devices, because it is so easy to just unwire. Here's a funny video, little cats, whatever. I'm just so sick of it. So I've been using books as a way to try to pry myself away from the damn devices. And frankly, I really kind of enjoy it. Now, what I have been doing, I'm still reading the one I talked about last time, the Voyage of Discovery, the Magellan's circumnavigation of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really cool was I could go on Google Maps and I could go down to Tierra del Fuego, and I could sort of basically read the book and chart where they're going.
Cool.
Through the satellite imagery of the Magellan's Passage. It was really kind of cool. And I actually when I'm reading true history books like that, I like to have a geographic placement.
Yeah.
I find it's helpful for me to sort of see that place and get a sense of it. And that was that part was fun. So yes, the devices have a place. I am just really tired of doom scrolling. So I agree. Pull myself away from it. It's much an addiction as anything else. It's really bad.
Very true. Okay, Terry.
Yeah, I'm still reading the same books. Tom Cleaver's Clean Sweep. This is my lunchtime read. I'm about halfway through now. P-51Bs have started arriving in England, which will change everything, as well as the P-47Ds, which had extra fuel capacity and the capacity to carry fuel tanks, drop tanks and all that. They had some teething issues for pressurization and such, but it's interesting. As good as the P-38 was in the Pacific, it was not in the European theater. It just could not perform at altitude. It choked at altitude. But so later on in the war, when like the 9th Air Force and the other ones were able to fly in Europe and it could stay low enough to be a good fighter bomber, it turned around. And that's what it was in the Pacific. The war was never really at a very high level in the Pacific.
Right.
So that was pretty fascinating, because you think it was, you remember it being more successful than it was.
Very cool.
It's really good. It's like I say, a good history book will just teach you more than you thought you knew about the subject to start with.
Yeah. It'll answer questions you didn't even think to ask.
Yeah.
Very much so. And I see you might be you might look at Discworld. I love that. It's a great series.
You have not read Discworld? Oh my God.
Who knows? I was reading Frank Herbert in high school, so I don't know. I'm in the mood for something
until
big.
After 50. So
I'm in the mood for something big again, like a Neil Stevenson or a China Miéville novel or something, something immersive.
That'll be nice.
Make me work for it. But you get a lot out of them.
Cool. Okay.
This world is absolutely worth the investment. The first couple of books are not the best ones, but he's building his skill as he goes, and his sense of humor and his writing style is just.
Well, speaking of Terry Pratchett's second season of Good Omens drops.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be available now.
And I think Foundation just dropped too, second season. Exactly. Okay, Chris, other than mortgage documents.
Well, I heard at the beginning that someone was talking about Shattered Sword. So if anyone needs any reason to buy and read that book, it gets my 2 thumbs up. I read that about 10-15 years ago. Couldn't put it down. It's probably one of the best pure history books that I've ever read. Most recently, the most recent book I finished was Bomber Mafia by Malcolm Gladwell. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, we're not talking full-on in-depth history. This is more of a 20,000-foot view of or from that perspective. And I'm working my way through The Fighting Corsairs, which is a sort of a biography of VMF 215, as they went through the Pacific. Yeah, so those, and I haven't finished that one yet. But Bomber Mafia, if you that one answered some questions, it asked some questions, it provided answers that I didn't even know that I wanted to know. Especially by the end of that war, when you really had a conundrum about ending that war, and everything they tried and everything they planned didn't work. And so now you have this awful decision to make. But by the way, none of the options on the table were pleasant options.
No.
And it was sort of working through, at least at a very high level, why they chose what they chose to do. But I mean, we have some revisionism going on today about that decision. I can tell you that at the time, this was a very hard fought decision that was being made by people who were very careful about making that decision.
Yeah, I actually just heard a preview for an interview with one of Oppenheimer's biographers, and said that they wanted to use the bombs now in the end of that war, so the next war wouldn't be fought with those bombs.
Exactly.
They needed to have a horrible demonstration.
Yeah.
Well, think about some of the other options were let's blockade it and wait 4 years while the entire island, suffers for 4 or 5 years, where hundreds of millions of people are going to, there was never a good decision to make here. No. And everything they tried, like they burned down entire, I mean, I don't want to get too much detail, but they burned down entire cities, and still nothing was advancing in terms of getting this thing resolved. And so what do you do when it's that immovable object and an unstoppable force? Like, it's just, the end of this thing was never going to be good. I guess is the whole thesis here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, war never has good decisions, but especially at the end of the Second World War and the Pacific Campaign. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk a little bit now about our good friends at Sean's Custom Model Tools. Now we're going to talk a bit about Sean's Custom Model Tools, one of our other sponsors of the Scale Model Podcast. Some very cool things, both 3D printed and the Goodman Super Sanding Blocks. Let's start with the Microset and Microsole Decal Set Bottle Stand. This is purposely designed for the microscale set and sole. Most modelers over the years, they've tipped these bottles over. So this is a very handy thing. At $14.95, you can put them both together. They're printed in blue and red for easy identification. Comes with a black base, and they actually have little magnets on it, so keeps them in place. Definitely a good deal. I use mine all the time, and I can well recommend them. Let's talk a bit about those Goodman Model Super Sanding Blocks, namely the Value Pack Combo for $28.99. You get the 80 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, and 600. Just an amazing set, just what you need. And you can also, if you want, you can also get a super sanding block stand for it, which also really makes life a little bit easier, helps things keep it organized. The other thing too is they have the awesome model tape dispenser for your various tapes. It's basically a 3D printed thing. You put spools of your tapes. It's got a little razor blade to help cut it, and it's really, really good design. So yeah, works out really well, and yours for $19.95. So check out these and other amazing deals at Sean'sCustomModelTools.com, and also on Facebook, and tell them that the Scale Model Podcast sent you. And we're back. Things we've seen. So we are recording this on the 24th of July, which is a Monday night. Airfix decided in their infinite wisdom, they never check with me, damn it. They have a big announcement tomorrow around 10 a.m. their time, 10 a.m. GMT. So obviously we don't know what it is. I will include a link in the show notes about what it is. A few people are going to be there. We know Chris Meddings will be there, Phoenix Scale Publications. Not really a lot of rumors. There's the usual, maybe this or maybe this in 124th.
All right, guys,
or whatever.
What's our bet? My bet is a 124th scale Westland Wapati.
Of course, that's your bet. Of course it is.
There's a lot of untapped market for
Oh,
that
there
one out
is.
there.
Obviously. I have no idea. They've been doing some pretty wild stuff.
I
With
think
market
they're
research.
re-releasing
Oh
the,
dear
the
God.
the Jenny from James Bond. You Only Live Twice.
Well, you know what? The Bond issue,
Gyro,
the
the
Bond
rockets
bug,
on it.
the Bond bug wasn't related to James Bond, but that was one of their most popular pre-orders from their vintage classic.
Exactly, that's my point.
I wonder if it's going to be something completely new tool. I don't know what.
Well, it better be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they come out with a 1/48 scale Wellington or something along those
There you
lines,
go. There you go.
that might be, or Halifax maybe.
Wait, Trumpeter did Wellington, right?
Did they?
Yeah. 48. I've
I
got
take
one.
it back.
Oh, what was that high out, that really long wing single engine one with the two cockpits? That it was also a one of the geodesic things. It'll come back to me.
Okay. Yeah, a
Yeah,
48 might be an idea.
that would be West.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it. Fireball XL5.
There you
There it
go.
is.
There we go. That makes better sense. But it'll be
Or
interesting to see.
supercar.
It'll be interesting to see what they come out with. Again, they've done some reissues. They recently reissued the Seafire with some new decals. That piques my interest.
Wait.
Um,
Which of the V bombers haven't they done?
they've done them all. They've redone them all fairly recently.
New
too.
ones though?
Newer ones, yeah. They've updated
Vulcan
it a
for
bunch.
sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, it'll
Yeah.
be. We're just gonna have to wait and see, and I'll obviously share it when it comes out. Whatever the announcement is, it'll be like 5 a.m. our time, or 4 a.m. your time, Terry. So if
What are
anyone's
the odds it's a Spitfire or an ME-109? I mean, come on.
hey, they make that makes the money for them.
It'll be a Halifax. That's what it's going to be.
Okay, he's going to say, all right, we'll go with the Halifax. We'll see what else they have to say. I just don't know what else. Like they did recently, have the English Electric Lightning. They had a 1-to-1 that they moved from one place to another, but they've got a fairly newer tool of that one. So I can't see that.
I don't think that was an Airfix product. I think
no, but they did reissue. But they did,
van.
yeah, but they did do a kit, and it wasn't that old.
No.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they come out with. Maybe Boris Johnson being shot out of a cannon over to France.
Too popular.
Too popular. Yeah, that's true. They'd sell out in no time. Oh, sorry. Was that my outside voice again? Apologize to any conservative or Boris Johnson supporters. It's in jest, of course. All right. So yeah. So you will hear about that announcement. Trumpeter's 132nd Devastators now on people's benches. I will find some links. That's true.
The only bad thing I've heard so far is the wheels are terrible, but that's easy enough.
Aftermarket. And there's a lot of people been waiting for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
All right.
And as long as the greenhouse is good, you still have Terry.
Okay. Is this yours, Terry? Putty and paint?
Yeah. And then speaking, we talked about miniatures and how very good some of these are.
Oh, wow.
Putty and paint's a great place to just be amazed.
Yeah,
and remember that most of this is like 28mm stuff.
Yeah, and you can submit, and you can have other people decide what they think of it.
That's the old Cool Mini or Not. That's what that used to be.
That's right.
And Cool Mini or Not did something different, and now this is the sort of thing that's going on. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
God.
Look
at this stuff. Just amazing.
Yeah,
I will never be that good.
Well, there we go again.
But
Stu.
that's all right.
Oh.
But that's all right.
Never try.
Never
try.
I have no problem with that. And there are some truly amazing artists up there.
There is. This is what they do.
There's that one lady that does the, the knights and that with the hand painted banners. And you just look at it and you go, I couldn't even do this on a larger scale. And she's doing the tiny stuff and just, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Like I said, I have great respect for the miniature guys and girls.
Yep.
Pardon me.
But there's a rabbit hole, guys. Dive down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
That is. Oh my God.
All right. So we got the last word. We got Kurt Vonnegut there.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you. We're also sponsored by our good friends at Return to Kitform. Don't forget to check out their web store. You need Macross stuff, particularly canopy masks. Check them out. I've got a VF0 Macross fighter coming with a mask kit and the weapons set he's sending along. So that'll be fun to check that out. Terry's got an order too, so he's
I need
packed it in.
to. I
He's
wrote
packed
a
it in.
note.
Okay, send him an email because he might be. Well, yeah,
Oh.
like I said, he's sending one package to Anthony for me, and then but yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't need kits. I just need masks.
Yeah,
so
get some
it'll
masks
be an
for 'em.
envelope.
All right. As always, for more modeling podcast goodness, check out our other modeling podcasts at modelpodcast.com. Leave us a positive review. We're on Facebook, the YouTube's our very own website, scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can get all the fabulous pictures that my co-hosts always send me before I go to air. Chris, is always great to hear from you. Where can people, if they actually want to hear more of your or read more of your rantings, where can they go?
They can go to www.modelairplanemaker.com, all one word. If they want to go to there's links to my YouTube page, but it's at Model Airplane Maker on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, always a great one to have on your RSS feed because he always writes some fun stuff and we love having him at Heritage Con. I'm not going to make you promise if you're coming down to London or not. If we see you, we see you. It's a bit of a drive for you. I do understand.
I would like to go. I just don't know if I could fit it in this year.
Yeah,
Stuart.
I know. That's fine. We're always happy to. You're always welcome. So you basically know that already. Okay.
We'll badmouth you in your absence. That's all.
Hey, are you guys going to come up to Ottawa for CapCon in October?
Well,
Ottawa. Why would we go to Ottawa? Who the hell? Oh my God.
Well, I'm here. You can hang out with me. Lots of fun.
You can check out Bill's brand new store.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my God, place to spend money.
Yeah. Gee, imagine that. All right. So for episode 122 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
I'm Jeff Hyland.
I'm Chris Wallace.
And I'm Terry Measley, reminding you that the old guys like the big stuff.
Awesome.
Oh,
you know what? I may have to be the new episode name. I was going to go severely spanked, based on Chris's comment, but you never know.
I mean that's not mutually exclusive.
I don't know. I'm not going to go there. All right.
Nicely done.
Before we go to a complete rated R, thank you and be well.